Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. This is a new presentation from www.central-mosque.com and the Humble Heart YouTube channel. It is the 19th episode of the Making Sense series. Today, we will talk about the facts behind the ouster of Imran Khan. When I look at the news coverage in the West, BBC, CNN, etc., France 24, some of the facts are not presented in the right order to make you take a judgment call as to what is actually going on in Pakistan. So I'm going to present you the facts, and in the order I believe it's the right way to present it, in order for you to make up your own mind as to what is going on in Pakistan, and more importantly, why it is going on. When it comes to Prime Minister, or let me say ex-Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, many Muslims in Pakistan and also those who are not Pakistanis have a very idealistic, dream-like stance. We all, somehow believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to send us a person like, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, unscrupulous, absolutely brilliant. You know, to be honest, guys, that's not going to happen. Imran Khan is not perfect by any stretch of imagination. Imran Khan has made a lot of mistakes and continues to make mistakes, and that is not the point. Out of the lot, the corrupt lot of politicians that have been, ruling Pakistan over decades, Imran Khan is by far the best that Pakistan has got at the moment. That is all I'm going to say. I am not saying Imran Khan is perfect. I'm not saying Imran Khan does not make mistakes. I'm simply saying that out of the corrupt lot that we've had for decades, he is better than anyone out there. Whether it is a leader of a religious party in Pakistan or a secular party, it does not matter. He is the best that we've got at the moment. So like how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our blessings. Any ounce of blessings that Allah gives us, we should thank Allah for it. So Imran Khan is the best of the lot. Nobody is saying he is perfect at all. So anybody who starts to comment in the video at the bottom to say Imran Khan did this, Imran Khan said that, I am saying Imran Khan is making mistakes. There's no doubt about it. I'm simply saying that at this time he is the best that Pakistan has got. That's all I am saying. So what has Imran Khan achieved? Many mistakes he's made in foreign policy, domestic policy, etc. But what has he achieved for Pakistan in a short amount of time, 3.5 years or however long he was the Prime Minister of Pakistan? Number one, COVID-19. Pakistan has dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic in one of the best ways possible, and that's been internationally recognized. So there's nothing to talk about it. Everybody knows the United Nations has talked about it. Various bodies have talked about it. Imran Khan, unlike India and other countries where poor people were starving for food, no such thing happened in Pakistan whatsoever. Number two, the Pakistani economy for after decades has been on sound footing. I am not saying that the economy has completely turned around, but the underpinnings of the economy are on a sound footing. If I was to talk about it, I will have to do another video, but trust me on that and take my word for it. Exports of Pakistan have increased tremendously, absolutely tremendously, and there are facts and data to back it up. Again, this is a topic for another video, which I don't want to get into. Take my word for it right now, please. Defense independence. The procurement of defense material that Pakistan is doing, stuff that Pakistan does not make, have been absolutely fantastic. The equipment that they're making inside Pakistan have been absolutely fantastic. The cooperation between Pakistan and Turkey on drones and some of the other electronic warfare equipment have been brilliant. And number five, everybody knows that and many people recognize that who are not Pakistanis. Imran Khan is one of the few leaders in the Islamic world who has raised the issue of Islamophobia on a world scale, to the point, he's made speeches in United Nations, and United Nations has even designated a day for raising awareness about Islamophobia. Now, many, again, idealistic, cynical brothers and sisters say, okay, great achievement, so what? The point is, this was never done. When you talk about Islamophobia on an international scale, that is better than what we had before. Inshallah, one day it will be, enshrined better enshrined, let me say, it is still enshrined in United Nations, but better enshrined in international legislations. Number six, he has been talking about the Islamic bloc relentlessly. Him and the Foreign Ministry of Pakistan have been working on it, on halal initiative, on certification of halal meat, and on trying to bring the Islamic bloc together. I am recording this video in April 2022. Last month in March, the OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries, Imran Khan and Pakistan Foreign Ministry, they openly gave speeches to Muslims who were attending this, foreign ministers from various Muslim countries, to say instead of being passive, we should come together as a bloc and we should not remain neutral, but intervene on the side of truth in the Ukraine-Russia conflict or any other conflict around the world. Number seven, Imran Khan has been pursuing, after many decades, an independent foreign policy for Pakistan. What is good for Pakistan, what is good for the citizens of Pakistan, and what is good for the Ummah in some way. Pakistan is beginning to take baby steps when it comes to foreign policy. And his visit to Russia was an example of that. So these have been some achievements that you cannot overlook. Also, locally, I forgot to mention in this, I just remembered, education reforms, teaching the Quran, the translation of the Quran, teaching the surah of Nabi Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to students in Pakistan. Great achievements, because what he's doing is he goes, we need to prepare our youth and our children for the future, and the only way to do that is to take the example of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as a model. These have been great achievements of Imran Khan that cannot be overlooked. These baby steps that Pakistan has been taking under Imran Khan for years were bound to rub those who do not like Islam, who do not like Muslims, the wrong way. It was bound to happen. These are baby steps, but they're steps nevertheless that nobody else in the world is taking. Pakistan has a population of over 220 million people. It's a nuclear powered country. 60% plus of Pakistan citizens are under the age of 20. It's a country that has a massive future, massive potential. It was going to rub Europe and America the wrong way, and it has. The first thing that happened is the European Union embassies, they pressured Pakistan to vote on against Russia in a specific way in United Nations. This is a blatant violation of international norms and diplomatic affairs. So rightly, Imran Khan stood up for Pakistan, and he basically lambasted the Europeans, and the words that he said is, we are not your slaves. Who do you think we are? Right next door to Pakistan, India also abstained from voting against Russia. But why did you single out Pakistan? So he basically went and told the Europeans, we are not your slaves. Get off our back. We're going to do what is right for our country. And he told the Europeans where to go. Next is the words that he used is, are we your slaves to do anything you say? He was not going to stand for it, and rightly so, he did not. Pakistan is a nuclear power. It's a country with great potential. It's the sixth strongest military in the world. You cannot dictate to Pakistan how Pakistan will vote in international affairs. Simple as that. Great stance for Imran Khan, and he is paying the price for it. And he told Europe where to go. Next starts the American interference in the affairs of Pakistan. The American State Department official visited the Pakistani ambassador in Washington, D.C. And he said if Imran Khan saves himself, there will be consequences for Pakistan. And if Imran Khan is removed, all will be forgiven. 2 points are made in this communique, this secret communique from the Pakistani ambassador back to Pakistan to inform about this meeting. At that time, there was no, movement against Imran Khan. Nothing was happening. So immediately, the Pakistan government starts saying, Imran Khan saves himself from what? What are you talking about? There's no movement in Pakistan. There's no agitation. Nothing is happening. What are you talking about? And the second thing is they say, if Imran Khan is removed, all will be forgiven. Meaning, the Americans knew who is going to come to power if Imran Khan is removed. This is a secret communique from the Pakistani ambassador to Islamabad, to its capital, to inform about this meeting. This is classified and cannot be presented in the public domain. However, what you will next hear is the testimony of Donald Lu in US Congress, where he is clearly talking about Pakistan and Sri Lanka, because they both abstained against voting for Russia, and At this time in April 2022, you know exactly what is happening with Sri Lanka, and Imran Khan is no longer in power and has been removed. Watch this clip from the testimony of Donald Lu.
Two other countries in your jurisdiction under South Asia, obviously you have the stands as well, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, that also voted to abstain from this vote. Can you talk briefly about your disappointment in those decisions and what efforts were made with respect to those countries?
I was on the phone at 6 o'clock last night speaking to the Sri Lankan ambassador here. My colleague in the Bureau was on the phone with the Indian DCM. We have worked very hard, with the Pakistani DCM, to try to convince them to vote in favor of this resolution. It is disappointing how many countries have abstained. I would also look to how many countries.
Can I just ask, Mr. Ambassador, did anybody in the administration pick up the phone and call the Pakistani foreign minister or the prime minister of Pakistan?
No, as you know, our chargé has met recently with the Pakistani foreign minister, but
on this topic.
On votes in the UN,
on the Ukraine vote?
On Ukraine votes not specific to the UN General Assembly vote. But as you may know, Prime Minister Khan has recently visited Moscow, and so I think we're trying to figure out how to engage specifically with the Prime Minister following that decision.
Well, as you know, there was a meeting in Delhi with the Russians as well. The point is we need a strong concerted effort with respect to all of these countries, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India. I understand that you made some efforts. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
So we're going to revisit this issue in the few slides, inshallah. Moving on, there is another component of this conspiracy or against Imran Khan, which is the religious angle. So a large population of Pakistan are conservative. They follow Islam. They respect their scholars. And one key component is a Deobandi political organization headed by Maulana FAZLUR Rahman. Over the years, Imran Khan and Maulana FAZLUR Rahman have a serious acrimony, in fact, almost pure hatred towards each other. The reason being is Maulana FAZLUR Rahman is Pashtun, so his power base is in the north of Pakistan. And they used to get a lot of members of parliament elected from that part of Pakistan. However, Imran Khan, when he came to power, before he became prime minister, many years before he became prime minister, his party made inroads into that Pashtun conservative population. And there's been a lot of acrimony because the Deobandi political support in the north of Pakistan has been eroded considerably as Imran Khan rose to power through various levels, provincial level, then the state level, national level, etc. There's a lot of acrimony to the point where Imran Khan refers to Maulana FAZLUR Rahman as Maulana Diesel because he alleges that Maulana has been guilty of taking a lot of cuts, taking a lot of commission on the issuance of diesel permits. The reason being is Afghanistan, the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan is in the north, and a lot of diesel was transported from Pakistan to Afghanistan to ease the shortage of fuel in Afghanistan over the last 20-30 years. And because Maulana FAZLUR Rahman's party, the Deobandi political party, was in charge of state affairs in that province, and he, according to Imran Khan, made a lot of cutbacks, therefore he coined the term Maulana Diesel. Now, he never attacks Maulana personally about his life, about his family, about anything else, but constantly refers to him as Maulana Diesel. So it's to the point where people of Pakistan have forgotten his real name and they even call him Maulana Diesel. And it is absolutely abhorrent and shouldn't be the case. If Maulana is guilty of any corruption, it should be pursued through proper channels, through the investigations, through the court system. So it is absolutely condemnable that Imran Khan refers to him as Maulana Diesel. That is one side of it. He calls him that because of alleged corruption. Maulana FAZLUR Rahman, he's a Maulana, he is an alim. Him and those in his party continuously attack Imran Khan on a personal level, not on corruption level, but on a personal level. They call him fornicator because of his past life. They continuously, and I wouldn't be saying this if I had not heard directly from Maulanas, those who follow Maulana, other ulama, other muftis. They attack Imran Khan's wife right here. She wears a niqab. And I've had this conversation with many Deobandis. I'm like, how can you attack someone's wife? It is unethical, it is un-Islamic, it is unworthy. Since Imran Khan has come to power in the last 3.5 years, this Deobandi political organization continuously, every few weeks or so, continuously talks about a few issues. They're saying Pakistan is about to establish relationships with Israel. Not true. They say the finality of the Prophet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the stature and the rank of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his honor is under threat. Not true. The latest a few weeks ago, Maulana FAZLUR Rahman in a press conference said that 500,000 scholars have issued a fatwa that it is obligatory wajib to oppose Imran Khan because his government is munkar. I will play a clip of that in a second. Imran Khan is hugely popular in Pakistan, hugely popular as the last few days. If you're watching the media, it's become clear. So Maulana FAZLUR Rahman and his Deobandi political party is completely out of step with the rest of Pakistan and completely out of step with the rest of the Deobandis even. But because of his father, because he's an alim, people are not, were reluctant to open their mouth against him. But now his actions have set it apart, and even Deobandis, whose Maulana claims to represent are saying that some of these things that he says and some of the things in fact he alleges that Imran Khan is a Jewish agent, Imran Khan's wife is this and that, all kinds of stuff. Deobandis are beginning to rise against it and saying it's below the belt and it is inappropriate. The point I'm trying to make is Imran Khan will continue to be a hugely popular political figure, and when Imran Khan, it's a matter of when, not a matter of if. When Imran Khan comes back to power, it is going to have consequences. Unfortunately, it is going to have consequences for the credibility, the respect, the trust, and the stature of the ulama, because they should not be stooping down to this level and making personal attacks. As I said, I've had this conversation many times, and I keep saying to many of the Deobandi brothers that I discuss outside of Pakistan and inside of Pakistan, I say Imran Khan is not an alim. Imran Khan is not a scholar of Islam. So if Imran Khan is calling him Maulana Diesel, that is absolutely abhorrent and condemnable. However, Maulana FAZLUR Rahman and others are ulama and they are the inheritors of the Prophet. So therefore, they should set the standard in conformance with the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they should not stoop to that level, even if Imran Khan is stooping to that level. Imran Khan is not my guide. He's not a mufti. He's not an alim. He's never claimed to be such, but Maulana FAZLUR Rahman has. So Imran Khan's rise to power, continuing popularity, will have consequences, unfortunately, and this is what I fear. Now, here is the clip of Maulana FAZLUR Rahman where he's claiming to have the endorsement of 500,000 scholars issuing a fatwa. There's no evidence of that whatsoever, by the way.
हमने फतवा जारी कर दिया है। मैं 5 लाख उलमाए किराम, मुस्तनद और जय्यद उलमाए किराम की रहनुमाई और उनकी नुमाइंदगी करते हुए कहता हूं कि ये हुकूमत मुनकर है और इस मुनकर का खात्मा हर पाकिस्तानी मुसलमान पर वाजिब है।
So there's no doubt that scholars and religious people have been a part of this movement against Imran Khan. And I'm not saying whether they did this deliberately. I don't know whether they did it deliberately or that they did it unwittingly. Who knows? But there has been a massive uprising or trying to promote the religious sentiment against Imran Khan. On the next front, we talk about the politicians. So the politicians are corrupt and have been corrupt in Pakistan over decades. Some of the members of Imran Khan's own party were collected in a building called Sindh House in the south of Pakistan, and money exchanged, $1.8 million and so on, which is a lot of money in Pakistan per MP to vote against Imran Khan. The Constitution of Pakistan, particularly Article 63A, disqualifies a person for defection. What that means is when you get elected to a member of parliament in Pakistan, you get elected on the basis of a party. You cannot just simply switch your vote and just go become part of another party. You cannot do that. What you have to do is you have to resign, then stand in election on behalf of another party and come to the parliament. But these people were collecting money, $1.8 million per person, whatever, and switching votes. There's plenty of evidence for that in the Pakistani media, pictures, videos, you name it. Here is a clip where all of these corrupt politicians, after accepting bribe, are actually celebrating jubilantly. Now let's talk about what Imran Khan is alleging in a little bit more detail. So what Imran Khan is alleging is this meeting that took place in Washington. The Pakistani ambassador sent an encrypted cipher report back to Pakistan to talk about what has happened. Because it's a cipher report, it is a secret document, it is protected by the Official Secrets Acts of Pakistan. Imran Khan's government wanted to put this cipher or a verified summary minutes of this within the public domain, but they were denied this by the court system because the court said, look, this is classified information, you cannot put this in the public domain. Fair enough. So what Imran Khan did is they conducted a National Security Council review. So a National Security Council review happens in Pakistan when the military, intelligence and everybody involved in it gets to see classified evidence. The NSC reviewed this classified evidence and agreed and signed that there is foreign meddling in the affairs of Pakistan. And within the meeting minutes, it says that they directed the Foreign Ministry of Pakistan to issue démarches to the US government, which Pakistan did. So Pakistan sent official condemnation to the US government about their involvement in the affairs of Pakistan. So this isn't a conspiracy. By the way, I have reviewed the news and coverage of this on BBC and CNN, and they have completely overlooked this fact or chosen not to report it. They keep saying Imran Khan alleges US involvement and Americans deny it. It's not that simple. This evidence was shared with the National Security Council, which is apolitical, and they reviewed this and agreed that there was foreign interference, specifically American interference in the affairs of Pakistan. So it is not a conspiracy, it is a fact. This interference started. So Imran Khan went to Supreme Court and challenged this decision. He says, look, I need to put this in the public domain. And Imran Khan was gagged and they were saying, no, that was not going to happen. The Supreme Court of Pakistan, when this happened, Imran Khan, he went to Supreme Court saying, I need to share the evidence. He wasn't allowed. He did a National Security Council and all of that led to the conclusion that there is foreign hand in Pakistani domestic politics. When the political parties wanted a no confidence vote against Imran Khan, because of foreign interference, they dissolved the government. They said, okay, what we need to do is have elections again. So let's go to the people of Pakistan and let's see what the people of Pakistan say. The Supreme Court of Pakistan, which has numerous court trials pending for years of corruption against ex-prime ministers, ex-ministers, ex-politicians, and normal Pakistanis. And these cases have been pending for years. For the first time in the history of Pakistan, decided after the Imran Khan government dissolved, after Imran Khan's party rather dissolved the government, to have sessions on the weekends and so on, and said that the ruling of Imran Khan's political party and the National Assembly of Pakistan was unconstitutional, which is ridiculous because the National Assembly's decisions cannot be challenged in the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court did that, they reinstated the political parties, reinstated the National Assembly and said the no confidence vote needs to take place. In that decision, they did not look at the conclusions of the National Security Council. They did not ask what evidence was presented. They also did not review why the National Assembly made the decision to dissolve the government. They simply, it felt like they just want to have Imran Khan humiliated. So the Supreme Court reinstated the government. A vote took place and Imran Khan was voted out. So why does everybody, the Supreme Court, the judiciary, and all these corrupt politicians, how come they don't want elections straight away? Because Imran Khan already said it. He dissolved the government. He said, you know what, we're going to have elections. Fair enough. That's not what they want. Why is that? The reason being is over the decades, the political system in Pakistan has been corrupt, and there's been a lot of manipulation on paper voting. So there have been constituencies where people have put false voting or removed votes, etc. So what Imran Khan did is he passed a resolution to convert to electronic voting system in Pakistan. Electronic voting system takes in India, and there have been several, apprehensions against it. But in Pakistan, they have looked at all of those and tried to protect that and try to have tamper-proof electronic voting system. The reason the Supreme Court and all these corrupt parties want to put, at least temporarily, this corrupt ex-government of Pakistan back is they want to do two things. Number one, they want to switch back to paper, because when a voting takes place on paper, you can tamper with it. So Imran Khan is hugely popular in public. So if elections happen and fair and free elections, they're going to win by a large margin. They want to put that back. Number two, overseas Pakistanis. During financial difficulties and economic trouble of Pakistan, with the whole world is suffering from inflation and stuff. But overseas Pakistanis have been helping out Pakistan a lot, and particularly the government of Imran Khan, by extending, loans and money in dollar and so on. And they want to, and in return, Imran Khan said that Pakistanis who live overseas or overseas citizens have the right to vote. They want to roll that back, because overwhelmingly these people support the government of Imran Khan and some of the measures that he has been taken. So they want to roll that back. They want to bring back a corrupt voting system, and they want to take away the rights of Pakistanis, and they also want to curtail the rights of Pakistanis living in Pakistan. So they want to, kind of what the Republicans do in America, gerrymandering, they want to do that in order to win elections. So that is the reason why the Imran Khan has been ousted, and because he resigned anyway. He wanted to go to elections, and that's fine. But what they want to do is they want to put back a corrupt government, and in the name of instituting free and fair elections, they want to rig the system. So either Imran Khan does not win or wins by lesser majority. So what is possibly likely to happen? So as I'm recording this, Imran Khan's party has resigned. Why have they resigned? Because Imran Khan's party has 170 plus members, or around 170 members in a 342 member National Assembly of Pakistan. I'm not talking about the Senate yet. What that does is, because if 170 members resign, that makes the entire system ungovernable. So they're kind of gambling on the Election Commission of Pakistan to say, okay, if 170 seats are empty, there's no quorum, so we have to do elections. So instead of saying let's have elections on 170 seats, they're going to say let's have elections completely. But that's a gamble, because the Election Commission and the Supreme Court, are favoring, because of American hand, favoring the ex-corrupt government. So it's entirely possible that they say no, 170 members have resigned, so we're going to have elections in 170 seats rather than everybody. So what Imran Khan can possibly do is also resign from there are 4 provinces in Pakistan. They can resign from 2 of the larger provinces of Pakistan. So basically creating a political vacuum to force a nationwide election. Because if there are free and fair nationwide elections, Imran Khan is going to win in big, huge majority. So first of all, to the people of Pakistan, this is quite depressing. This is the first time I'm seeing, religious people in Pakistan, secular people in Pakistan, and every which way, united and standing together against one man. And that is just simply astounding. I thought I would never see the day when a Deobandi political organization will hold hands with a secular atheist and, say that we are brothers and stand up against Imran Khan. That is just, just astounding display against one person. So, as Imran Khan's famous saying, he keeps saying, "GHABRANA nahi," meaning don't worry. And, we have iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not falter or do not grieve, and you will have the upper hand if you're true believers. So we should have faith in this month of Ramadan. Everything is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do what is best. The only way to stop Imran Khan from coming back to power, I mean, they are going to try to rig the system, they're trying to rig the elections, and everything, is for Imran Khan to be assassinated. And that is a distinct possibility. Okay. If Imran Khan comes to power, back into power, with a bigger majority, that is going to have huge consequences, not just for Pakistan, but for the rest of the Islamic world, because people will see that, the Americans tried their best. They aided and abetted and, poured money into the millions in Pakistan, trying to rig the system, trying to remove Imran Khan, and it is clear why. And they failed. So this is going to have consequences for Pakistan, and not only for Pakistan, for the rest of the Islamic world. What is happening in the streets of Pakistan? People are turning out in huge numbers, and huge is not a word that I'm using here lightly. I mean, we're talking about astronomical numbers. Our people are turning out in support of Imran Khan. So let's see what happens. And I end this with a clip of the support of the people for Imran Khan. Jazakallah khairan, and during the month of Ramadan, make dua inshallah for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring peace, safety and security to Pakistan inshallah. Imran Khan is going to come to power if he stays alive, and there's no doubt about it. It is just a matter of when. Even if his party is resigning from the parliament to force elections, even if complete elections don't happen, the next elections in Pakistan are in less than 18 months. So let's watch this space inshallah, and let's see what happens. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.